Can romantic comedies make a big impact on the big screen in 2026? Well, we'll see on August 7th because that is when One Night Only will be hitting theaters. This is the new rom-com directed by Will Gluck, who's the director behind Easy A, Friends of Benefits, and Anyone But You. In this universe, I guess to say, in this world, in the United States, there's a law where only one day of the entire year premarital sex is legal. So it's kind of like The Purge, but thrown into romantic comedy. Instead of people killing each other on one day of the year, this is where you can actually have sex if you are not married. The film follows Allie, played by Monica Barbaro, who is struggling because every year of this holiday, as I guess to say, she just has one night stand, and that person does not become her eventual boyfriend, husband, her partner. And she is searching on this day, as this movie takes place in a 24-hour period, to find her prince, as she says. That could be Owen, played by Callum Turner, who is in a relationship at the beginning of the movie with Maya Hawke's character of Malika, but she thinks that he is stuck in a rut and is kind of in a box. And he thinks he's perfectly okay for who he is and what he does. And Owen and Allie, of course, Barbara and Turner, keep bumping into each other throughout this night as they're both searching for possible true love more than just sex. This is a pretty stacked ensemble as well. You have Julia Fox, Molly Ringwald, Nicholas Braun, Jay Ellis, among the other cast members. The film is an hour and 42 minutes and is rated R. Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new review here on Max Talks Movies. My name is Max, and we're talking One Night Only, which I saw at the AMC Screen Unseen. So I'm very happy I got to give you guys a review a week and a half in advance of the movie's release. But I was not excited for this movie, honestly, whatsoever. Trailers didn't really hook me. What gave me hope was Monica Barbaro, who I think is a really good leading actress, and Will Gluck, who is very reliable in this genre, with Friends with Benefits, which is a movie I've seen multiple times, and Anyone But You, which is one of like the last big romantic comedy hits over the last 8 years, I would say. So I think he's a very reliable romantic comedy director. But this movie kind of was exactly what I thought it was going to be based on the trailer, which is I think this movie is a big mess. I don't think it's a very good movie. I think some people are going to give the movie a minor pass and say it's like average or it's okay because Will Gluck, as I said, is very good within this genre. This definitely, like Anyone But You, does indeed feel like a cinematic experience. It does not feel like a Netflix movie, in my opinion, because of its slickness. It feels like it's a movie you want to see on the big screen because I think we live in a world now where romantic comedies have become like 95% exclusive on streaming services. We don't really see studios put out romantic comedies anymore. I grew up, there were a billion of them every single month. Now, if you want to say romantic comedy, the best chance of you seeing it is on Netflix or another streaming service. Here we have a movie exclusive in theaters one, and I think I just don't think this movie cracks the code. I will say, as I said, Will Gluck is a very slickly made production. It looks very good. It's very cinematic. They do a really good job making New York feel huge because we're in this 24-hour period. And I was never bored with the locations, the restaurants that they're at, the parties they're at, the very lush, lavish parties. I thought the locations were very good. And as I expected, Monica Barbaro is very good in this movie. Having seen her in better in other things, of course. But she also gets to use her singing talent that she got from a complete unknown as well, which I thought really added to her character a lot. And I thought she was very good in this movie. The most of the ensemble is also very strong. I also like Molly Ringwald as Callum Turner's mother in the movie. She has a very funny bit with LeVar Burton's character that was easily one of the funniest aspects of the film. I will say, I definitely chuckled. I would say like 2 to 4 times throughout the film. Like it wasn't like there weren't like those cringe comedy, like I'm making fun of laughing at it. I was laughing with the movie at times, but there are two things that, in my opinion, have this movie falling apart and not making it a very good movie. Number one, Callum Turner and Monica Barbaro, at least in my opinion, have no chemistry in this movie. You're supposed to feel a fling, a lightning bulb go off every time they meet. Because I'm not going to spoil the entire movie, but there are points where they'll meet and then they separate for a big chunk and then they come back together at random points. And every time they're supposed to be like reuniting together, you're supposed to feel like, oh man, this is it. They need to be together and stop separating. I never feel that. They just don't have any chemistry. And I think Monica Barbaro good. I do think Callum Turner is like the most, in my opinion, like blah. Like again, good looking guy. I can understand him being in movies like this, but he just doesn't add much beyond that from an actor. He's just kind of like he's not like a bad actor, but he's also not that charismatic, good looking movie star. I think this movie honestly could have needed. But again, in general, even Barbaro, they just have no chemistry. I didn't care about them ending up with each other by the end of the movie. I was actually more interested in some of their side stuff than their actual them being together. And I think it really hurts the movie. I think I would have given this movie a pass too if I cared about their romantic chemistry. I just did not. The second pitfall for this movie is the concept. At like on face value, sure, it's an interesting concept. One day of the year, people can actually have sex, but you have to be creative. And I thought this movie used such like lazy ways to stretch this idea to a feature length movie. There were like political stuff that was made about the movie. They do these newsreels and they show graffiti. That's as creative as this movie gets. I think this movie has, on paper and a pitch, to have a very good concept. But that's as far as this movie goes from a creative perspective. If this movie had that creative spark from a screenwriting perspective on how to use this concept and use it conveniently and uniquely throughout the entire film, that's cool. At points, this movie feels like a crutch and ha ha ha, see on the walls, this is what is illegal, this is what's not illegal. That's as funny and as unique this movie goes. So I just, again, did not like this movie. I think Barbaro's very solid. I think Will Gluck kind of saves this movie for most people and is going to blind people into thinking that this movie is actually a pretty decent romantic comedy. I just thought the two leads had no chemistry, and I also thought they just were not creative whatsoever with the actual concept of premarital sex being allowed on one day. So I'm giving One Night Only a 1.5 out of 5. I am going low here. I'm going 34% for One Night Only. What are your guys' thoughts on this movie? Let me know down in the comments. Like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you guys in another video, guys, very soon.